President.
The senator from Rhode Island.
Mr. President, may I ask that the pending quorum call be lifted?
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do not intend to speak long. I know that we are getting ready to wrap up, and I'm going to not interfere with that. But I did not want the day to end without a reminder that the concern that H.R. 1 and the significant serious cuts that it imposes will produce significant serious job losses. That is not something that is being manufactured on our side of the aisle. It comes from careful analysis from very neutral forums. Many people will have seen this graphic already. Chairman Bernanke of the Federal Reserve is one of the observers who has looked at the bill and said that it will cut significant jobs. I believe his testimony was that it was not trivial, that it would be hundreds of thousands of jobs. Economist Mark Zandi has advised Republicans and Democrats. He's a neutral, independent economist. He has calculated that the GOP plan would cost 700,000 jobs. When you consider that the good news that we have just heard of job growth in the past reporting period was, I believe, around 170,000 jobs, less than 200 anyway, the idea of wiping out 700,000 jobs acquires a real scale and a real significance. And finally, at the bottom is Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is no great friend of the Democratic Party. What it is a very smart and very talented group of financial advisors and investors who look at data as dispassionately as possible, because if they're wrong, they don't make money. They work hard to get it right. And Goldman Sachs has estimated that the spending cuts will hurt economic growth. My memory is that they estimated that it would be 2 percentage points off of our economic growth. And when you consider that our economic growth is, I think, under 3% right now, you take 2 of those percents out, and you're basically getting pretty close to flatlining the American economy. So prudence dictates that we go about the necessary adjustments to get rid of our debt and our deficit in a way that does not snuff out the gradually emerging recovery. In my state of Rhode Island, we've just gone from 11.5% unemployment down to 11.3% unemployment. It's still pretty darn serious out there. And while clearly things appear to have bottomed out and started to go in the right direction, nothing prevents what everybody calls the double dip. Things like the gas crisis that we're going through now have been discussed as potentially creating a double dip. To knock out 700,000 jobs, to knock out 2 full percentage points of growth out of a growth ratio that's not much over 3% if, that's a very big hit to our economy. It may be wiser to allow the economic recovery to continue a little bit further, as the Bowles-Simpson group recommended, that you really couldn't snuff out the recovery early. Let the blaze catch a little bit more, let it get going, and then we can move into these areas. I'll close with that. I will come to the floor later to talk about not just prudence, but also fairness, because there are 2 issues we need to address as we face up to our debt and deficit challenge. We have to do it prudently. We also should do it fairly. And the way the House does it, I don't think meets the standards either of prudence or of fairness. Prudence, I think we've got pretty strong agreement when Ben Bernanke and Mark Zandi and Goldman Sachs all talk about very, very significant job losses as a result of it, and fairness is a topic for another day. I thank the presiding officer. I yield the floor, and I note the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Akaka. Mr. Alexander. A couple of votes in the Senate this afternoon. The chamber voted down two versions of the fiscal 2011 federal spending bill. The House Republican version of the measure would have cut $61 billion from the current funding levels. It failed by a vote of 44 to 56. Three Republicans, Mike Lee, Rand Paul, and Jim DeMint, voted against the bill. A Senate Democratic version, introduced by Senator Inouye, failed by a vote of 42 to 56. 10 Democrats and 1 independent joined all Republicans in voting against the Inouye measure. Current federal funding for the rest of this budget year expires on March 18th. The House and the Senate will need to reach agreement to keep the government funded after that. Here's more from a Capitol Hill reporter.
With us is Michael O'Brien of The Hill. What do today's test votes in the Senate reveal about any potential for a compromise on federal spending?
Well, they reveal right now that there is no compromise on spending. I think that's the fairly obvious point. What these sort of demonstrated was that both the Democratic proposal and the Republican proposal are not viable in their current form. They can't get the votes in the Senate. So it sort of points to a moment where Democratic and Republican leaders, with the aid of the Obama administration, are going to have to find some place in the middle between those two proposals.
Is there any middle ground senator out there, or a group of senators that either side is looking to work with?
Well, there's this group of six, a group of six members, 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, who sat on President Obama's fiscal commission. Now, what they're working on is sort of a longer-term spending deal that would bring down the deficit and debt over time. However, Senator Charles Schumer from New York, a leading Democrat in the Senate, said this morning that that sort of approach kind of provides the framework for a deal, so that sort of bipartisan spirit. Whether or not that's going to come into fruition, we'll see.
And you reported on Senator Schumer's remarks from earlier today that the senator called for what he, quote, reset in the budget fight. What is he looking for particularly? What's he calling for?
Well, he's saying that any approach to both the short-term and long-term spending should take a look at a variety of things. So revenue raisers, reductions in mandatory spending, so programs like health care or Medicare or Social Security, although he didn't specifically mention that last one, as well as cuts in domestic discretionary spending. Democrats complain that this current spending bill is solely focused on domestic discretionary spending and cuts too heavily from that, which is a key point of contention.
So reading the tea leaves on Chuck Schumer's comments, does he seem to indicate that everything now should be on the table?
Well, you know, we saw a statement from Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who said that a number of options should be on the table. He released this afternoon after this vote, except for Social Security. Democrats are very wary of touching that traditional third rail, and they know they'd be under a lot of pressure from their liberal base if they do.
Where's the White House in all of this?
Well, the White House is sort of keeping its distance and doing its part behind closed doors. Vice President Biden called Speaker Boehner today, as well as Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. He tried to reach Senator Reid but failed, and they're sort of guiding things. However, Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, did get a question this afternoon and said, you know, given the question whether they should sort of restart, like Senator Schumer has said, and take a look at all options, the White House said that they'd prefer to just focus on domestic discretionary spending at this point.
Okay, the current short-term spending bill expires next Friday, March 18th, so what's going to happen?
Well, there's going to be several options and scenarios. If the government runs out of money on March 18th, it would face a shutdown. That's almost what we had last Friday, March 4th, and what happened last week, of course, was they extended funding for another 2 weeks. Republicans have said that's a possibility if they don't reach a deal. Not everybody is thrilled about that possibility, but I don't think anybody, at least from a political standpoint, wants a shutdown. However, if they don't come to an agreement of some sort, they face a very tough choice between letting the government shut down or doing another one of these continuing resolutions.
Michael O'Brien covering the spending debate on Capitol Hill, and you can read his articles at thehill.com. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Politico writing that today's Senate vote rejecting a House-passed package of Republican spending cuts for the rest of this budget year shifts the burden back to House Speaker John Boehner to show more flexibility in budget talks with the White House and Democrats. Earlier today, Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard spoke with Congress, a joint meeting between the House and the Senate. We're going to hear that now.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the Honorable Julia Gillard, Prime Minister of Australia.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President pro tempore, distinguished members of the Senate and the House, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the fourth Australian Prime Minister to address you. Like them, I take your invitation as a great honour. Like them, I accept it on behalf of Australia. Since 1950, Australian Prime Ministers Robert Menzies, Bob Hawke and John Howard have come here, speaking for all the Australian people, through you to all the people of the United States. They each came with a simple message, a message which has been true in war and peace, a message which has been true in hardship and prosperity, in the Cold War and in the New World. A message I repeat to you today. Distinguished members of the Senate and the House, you have a true friend down under. For my parents' generation, the defining image of America was the landing at Normandy. Your boys of Pronto risking everything to help free the world. For my own generation, the defining image of America was the landing on the moon. My classmates and I were sent home from school to watch the great moment on television. I always remember thinking that day, Americans can do anything. Americans helped free the world of my parents' generation. Americans inspired the world of my own youth. I stand here and I see before me the very same brave and free people. I believe you can do anything still. There is a reason the world always looks to America. Your great dream, life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness inspires us all. Those of you who have spent time with Australians know that we're not given to overstatement. By nature, we're laconic speakers, and by conviction, we are realistic thinkers. In both of our countries, real mates talk straight. We mean what we say, so let me say this to you. You have an ally in Australia. An ally for war and peace, an ally for hardship and prosperity, an ally for the 60 years past, and Australia is also an ally for all of the years to come. Geography and history alone could never explain the strength of the commitment between us. Rather, our values are shared and our people are friends. This is the heart of our alliance. This is why, in our darkest days, we've been glad to see each other's face and hear each other's voice. Australia's darkest days in the last century followed the fall of Singapore in 1942, and you were there with us. Under attack in the Pacific, we fought together, side by side, step by bloody step. And whilst it was Australian soldiers at Milne Bay who gave the Allies our first victory on land in the Pacific War, it was American sailors at the Battle of the Coral Sea who destroyed the fear of an invasion of Australia. Distinguished members of the Senate and the House, Australia does not forget. We will never forget. The ultimate expression of our alliance, the ANZUS Treaty, was not signed until 1951. But it was anticipated a decade earlier in the judgments, the clear, frank and accurate judgments of an Australian Prime Minister, and in the resolve, the extraordinary, immovable resolve of an American President. In the decades since, we've stuck together in every major conflict, from Korea and Vietnam to the conflicts in the Gulf. Your darkest days since Pearl Harbor were 10 years ago in Washington and New York, and we were with you. My predecessor, John Howard, was quite literally with you, and he came to this capital when you met on September 12 to show you that Australians would be with you again. And after 50 years, under a new Prime Minister and a new President, the ANZUS Treaty was invoked. Within Australia's democracy, John Howard and I had our differences, but he was and is an Australian patriot, a man who was moved by what he saw here in that terrible September. He was and is a friend of America. When John Howard addressed you here in 2002, we were already with you in Afghanistan, and we are with you there still. I want you to know what I've told Australia's Parliament in Canberra, what I told General Petraeus in Kabul, what I told President Obama in the Oval Office this week. Australia will stand firm with our ally, the United States. Our friends understand this, that we will stand firm with you, but perhaps more importantly, our enemies understand this too. We must be very realistic about Afghanistan's future. Australia firmly supports the international strategy led by President Obama and adopted in Lisbon last year. Australia is doing our part in Uruzgan province, in particular, and across the whole of Afghanistan. The government of Afghanistan must play its part too. We know transition will take some years. We must not transition out only to transition back in. We must not. From my discussions with your country's leaders in Washington, my meetings with generals in Afghanistan, and my time with our troops, this is my conclusion. I believe we have the right strategy in place, a resolute and courageous commander in General Petraeus, and the resources needed to deliver the strategy. I am cautiously encouraged by what I have seen. For a moment, I want you to see Afghanistan through the eyes of Corporal Ben Roberts-Smith. Ben is Australia's most recent Victoria Cross winner, our equivalent of your Medal of Honour. Ben is a veteran of 5 tours of Afghanistan and first went there in 2006. When we met recently, his words to me were compelling. He said, "It's not the same country I first went to 5 years ago. We are making a difference." Friends, there are hard days ahead. I flew to your country the day after attending the funeral of a young Australian who served in Afghanistan. Sapper Jamie Larkham was from my home state of South Australia, from a small community with the most perfectly Australian name, Kangaroo Island. Jamie's life's ambition was to serve his country. He was a long way from Kangaroo Island when he made the ultimate sacrifice. We will remember. I know very many young Americans have served their country and lost their lives in Afghanistan too. As a friend, we share your grief. As an ally, we share your resolve. Afghanistan must never again be a safe haven for terrorism. Just as our security alliance is one for war and peace, our economic partnership is one for hardship and prosperity. In hard days, we work together. Our societies share a deep understanding of the importance of work. We believe life is given purpose and direction by work. Without work, there is corrosive aimlessness. With the loss of work comes the loss of dignity. That's why in each of our countries, the great goal of all we do in the economy is the same. That great goal is to ensure that everyone who can work does work. In turn, this is why each of our countries took early and strong action in the face of the greatest threat to the world's economy since the Great Depression. And we did not just act locally or individually, We worked together when hardship came. It was difficult, but we did it together. New global realities and the emerging economic weight of countries like China, India and Brazil meant the vital forum for the global response was the leaders of the G20 nations. My predecessor, Kevin Rudd, worked hard to ensure this was so. The world needed a global response to the economic crisis, and global leadership was vital. Together, the G20 coordinated $5 trillion in fiscal stimulus for the global economy. While there has been very real pain, the global response averted true economic disaster. Economic stimulus has been crucial to limit the worst effects of the downturn. Economic reform is crucial now to deliver the best hopes for a strong recovery. Like you, I'm a leader in a democracy. I know reform is never easy, but I know reform is right. The general economic outlook remains fragile and uncertain. Global economic balances persist, and we must address them or risk future instability. Your leadership in the G20 is still needed to ensure we make the reforms which will keep the global economy on the path to strong, sustained and balanced growth. And that is the path to growth in America as well. We worked hard with you during the global economic crisis to resist protectionist pressures. This only built on our decades working together to promote free trade in the world. I know many of you worked hard to achieve the Australia-US Free Trade Agreement. Can I say to each of you today, thank you. Our Free Trade Agreement shows the benefits of free trade, and we aim for even larger benefits from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a great economic opportunity for our two countries and 7 of our regional partners. And we have other opportunities to promote trade and jobs as well. I'm looking forward to your country hosting the APEC Leaders meeting later this year. We will work closely together there. Australia is also working for an ambitious and balanced conclusion of the WTO Doha round as soon as possible. And we look forward to your Congress passing a 2012 Farm Bill that advances free trade rather than distorting it, and through free trade creates jobs. We know the equation is simple. Trade equals jobs, a very simple equation. Our societies share a deep understanding of the importance of work, and our societies share a deep commitment to the value of education. We understand education's transformative power. We know education is the future for every child who learns. We also know education is the future for our economies. Our future growth relies on competitiveness and innovation, skills and productivity, and these in turn rely on the education of our people. Australia and America are partners in a globalised world where open societies flourish and competitive economies thrive. That's why I went to a school in Wakefield, Virginia with President Obama this week. The President and I not only saw children learning, we saw the future of your people and the future of your prosperity as well. Australians are deeply grateful to your greatest generation for their mighty deeds. This week, I've seen a new generation of Americans. I genuinely believe they can be greater still. Achieving prosperity while sharing its benefits requires far-sighted educational reforms. In the same way, achieving growth while caring for our climate requires far-sighted economic reforms. Breaking the link between economic growth and emissions growth is a difficult challenge for our economies, and we can only achieve it by working together. Our cooperation in key international forums and in research and development is making an important contribution. We must work together to achieve an historic transition to high technology, high skill, clean energy economies. Shared values are the basis of our security alliance, and shared values are the basis of our economic partnership as well. Through hard work and education, we can deliver a strong economy and opportunity for all. Americans are great optimists, and Australians will always have a go. So conceived in the Pacific War and born in the Cold War, adapted to the space age and invoked in the face of terror, our indispensable alliance is a friendship for the future. It is this year the 60th anniversary of the signing of our treaty. It is because of that I have the opportunity to speak to you today. For that, I'm grateful. As I said to President Obama, it is an alliance 60 years young, with so much future to share. And this is a timely opportunity, not so much for reflection on the past as the discussion of our future. The bipolar world in which our alliance was signed has long since disappeared. I'm not sad about its passing. Hundreds of millions of people have a better life today. Democracy and human dignity have spread wide in the world in the last 20 years. We've seen this from Eastern Europe to East Asia in recent years, and we are seeing the hope of it in the Middle East right now. We understand that nothing is certain. There is still much for the people of the Middle East.
April 2011 as National Asbestos Awareness Week.
Without objection, the committee is discharged and the Senate shall proceed to the measure.
I ask unanimous consent that the resolution be agreed to, the motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There be record as if read.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that we proceed to SRES 97.
The clerk will report.
SRES 97, affirming the importance of exercise and physical activity as key components of a healthy lifestyle, including combating obesity, reducing chronic disease, and lowering health care costs.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
Mr. President, I ask that resolution be agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, the motion to reconsider be laid on the table. There will be no intervening action or debate, and any statements relating to this matter be placed in the record at the appropriate place as if read.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that on Thursday, March 10th at 2:15 p.m., the Senate proceed to executive session to consider calendar number 7. There will be 15 minutes of debate equally divided in the usual form that upon the use or yielding back of that time, the Senate proceed to vote without intervening action or debate on calendar number 7. The motion reconsider be considered made and laid on the table. There be no intervening action or debate, and that there be no further motions in order. Any statements relating to this matter be printed in the record, and that President Obama be immediately notified of since action, and then sent, then resume the legislative session.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that the following senators be recognized as of morning business at the times listed below for the purpose of giving their maiden speeches to the United States Senate. Senator Moran, Thursday, March 10th at 10:30 a.m. for up to 15 minutes. Senator Coates, Tuesday, March 15th at 2:15 p.m. for up to 30 minutes. I would just say this is his second maiden speech.
Without objection.
I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes its business today, it adjourn until Thursday, March 10th at 10 a.m. Following the prayer and the pledge, journal proceedings be approved to date. morning hour be deemed expired, time for the two leaders be reserved for use later in the day, and that following any leader remarks there be a period of morning business until 2:15 p.m. The senators allowed to speak for up to 10 minutes each, and at 2:15 p.m. the Senate proceed to executive session as provided under the previous order.
Without objection.
At approximately 2:30, the Senate will vote on confirmation of the nomination of Max Oliver Cogburn of North Carolina to be a district judge for the Western District of North Carolina. Mr. President, if there is no further business to come before the Senate, I ask that adjourn under the previous order.
The Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Today in the Senate, members rejected two versions of the 2011